What do you want, Vasilisa? And she begs him, you've got to stop the night. And he asks, where is your fire? And she tells him that she buried it, but it still burns her. And he says, but Vasilisa, the Yaga gave you the fire not to warm your home, but to light your way in the wilderness. She can't even hear him. She just keeps going. She says, I was meant to burn away illusion, but I burnt away everything I had. Now I have nothing, no one, I'm nowhere. And she's just completely swallowed in self-pity. And the knight very clearly says to her, go back to the burial site and dig up the fire. So it's not a task or a challenge or any initiation. He just says, go back. You already have what you need. Now, this is opposite advice to what the doll had told her. And so it's interesting that she'd been having these dreams that the doll was dying, when the truth was the doll wasn't much of a good guide anyway. But that's all she has. So she doesn't know that actually not only does she need more, but she deserves more. It's time for the darkness. So now I'm blending the story with some of the meaning of it, but I've written the story and the full breakdown of the psychic meanings of this. Anyway, as the Knight of Nights is speaking, he disappears into darkness, his voice remains, he just is engulfed by it, and she sees by his example that there really is nothing to fear with the dark. And she realizes that she doesn't need to see where she's going, she can feel her way through. And she starts to crawl through the forest, over all the roots and between the trees, and she makes her way back. And as she journeys back, she remembers all the skills she learned at the Yaga's house, the sorting, the sweeping, the cleaning, and she realizes that there's a difference between darkness and danger. At the Yaga's house, the darkness just represented the end of the day. She was actually doing a lot of dangerous tasks, which she didn't know. And she feels grateful and accomplished, and she thinks, I've survived the Yaga, I survived the death of my family, I've survived these night terrors, I'm not afraid anymore. And her doll whispers to her, you've survived, and now it's time to start creating. So she gets back to the burial site, she's not afraid, she digs up the skull, she kisses it on the forehead, and she breathes life back into its eyes. And she says, I am Vasilisa, born of the darkness and born of skullfire. And then she takes her doll and she feeds it to the fire. And her doing that is basically taking her intuition and turning it into creative action. She's ready now to embody all that she knows into wisdom. This is how she becomes Vasilisa the Wise. So she feeds the fire, and as she stands there in the ruins, the burial site of her parents, her home that's been burned to ashes, she sees the shadows dancing from the skull light on the old ruined walls of her home. And it is so enchanting and magical that she starts to sing, and her new life starts to begin.